War. What is it good for? Well, one could argue absolutely everything. Are you in debt? Well, just walk over to your neighbours and pick up max money, as well as some war reparations, and boom, there goes your debt. You want more land to build naval batteries and dry docks? No worries, use a quick war to head on over to your neighbour and pick up some of his spare provinces. In fact, regardless if you're playing for fun or achievements, or if you're trying to achieve a 1449 true one-tag world conquest as Buganda, you are probably going to want to declare war at least a couple of times. Furthermore, even if you don't, the AI is probably going to declare war on you too. But we are simple people, and our minds are simply not large enough to comprehend the truth. The fundamental truth that war is bad. So what if we were to play EU4 and try to avoid war like the plague? No declaring wars, no defensive wars, even no offensive wars, nothing. That involves being at war. And no threatening war either. That is unbefitting of a true pacifist. How much can you achieve by just politely asking the AI to become your vassal and through similar peaceful means? Well, today we find out. Since the release of Leviathan 2 years ago, and the addition of a wonderfully balanced feature where you can spend favors to ask the AI politely to give you your cause back, there has been an EU4 run that pushes this, as well as similar mechanics, to its absolute limits. And for this, I'd like to introduce none other than a good friend, a person who initially introduced me to EU4 itself, Hoodie, otherwise known as the Sick Man of Europe. Let's get him on a call now. Hello!
Hello, Lemon. Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me over.
Oh, well, the pleasure's all mine. So, what am I looking at?
Yeah, so this is a slightly different campaign that I try to do. Basically, I got a bit bored of conquests and I thought, how far could you go in complete pacifism? The aim there was to do no kind of declaring war and no threaten wars. So you can't just nab little provinces because, it's kind of backed by declaring war, quite literally. So, yeah, and I thought, how far could you take it? Anyway, 2 years later, here we are with this monstrosity.
Took you a couple of restarts.
Yes, yeah, just a couple. I was kind of letting Lebanon know through this of my many attempts. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty well, actually.
So, at this time, I believe you started as the Ming, but initially you're doing it as Austria?
Yeah, so my initial idea to do this, because basically this is when Leviathan came out, right? Some really, really, really glorious content in Southeast Asia that I have definitely played now after that came out 2 years ago. However, there was some other things that added, mainly favor growth. It was like this new concept where you could ask your allies for land and they'd give it to you.
If you had a core or a vassal, of course.
If you have a core or a vassal as a core. And I was like, that sounds pretty good. You don't need to go to war to gain provinces anymore. So I thought I'll try it as Austria, see if you can do just like pacifist runs, form the HRE, and then kind of use all the kind of vassals and PUs that you can gain to kind of grow it. And that went all well and good. But then I found out a mechanic in the Ming, which I completely glossed over. And that was converting tributaries to vassals, which is incredibly strong. And I could literally just, chain kind of integrate someone, and then I border all their neighbors, so I can then convert to vassal and then just keep going and just see how much I could just integrate the world. Yeah, and it kind of just went a bit further than I expected, to be honest.
That's a statement and a half. I mean, initially you attempted this without the domination Ming China tree, from what I remember, and then you tried the domination Ming China tree, and that changed Japan and Korea, from my understanding.
Yes, yeah. So I didn't have those DLC. Basically, yeah. I mean, again, I've only done pacifism since Leviathan. I didn't really buy any DLCs or care much because, I've been playing this for a while and I was kind of, I needed something different. But yes, yeah, getting the domination DLC, changed it up quite a bit with all the eunuchs and stuff.
The thing that a lot of people have certainly mentioned is how China's weaker now because they start with the 25% autonomy on territories and all the other debuffs. But I guess didn't hold you back too much, did it?
Well, I mean, once you get rid of them, they're no longer an issue. So that was my aim from the start.
Definitely the approach. I'll concede that. I mean, these debuffs are annoying, so let's just get rid of them.
Exactly. No, I mean, again, this is pacifism, right? So I needed to expand stuff. And if you click over to the estates mode, you'll see why this is very useful. The second privilege that they give out, the favor system.
Oh.
Down there, you see a monthly favor growth modifier plus 50%. which, kind of gives me a lot more favors, get a lot more provinces in the whole pacifist method. Yeah, which people might like. Basically, this was a monthly favor growth modifier stacking campaign.
And a dip rep stacking run in the background as
And
well.
a dip rep stacking run, yeah. Anything to help me do get a bit more friendly with people and stuff. Yeah, so I ended up getting about almost 200%.
You've had so much. I mean, you managed to pick up 52% admin efficiency just passively, which is
Yeah.
But
yeah, which also that's the thing. So, for example, Court and Country, which was really fun. I can't get it because you need to be at war to start it, and I didn't want to be in any wars. That's the thing. I didn't want to be on any wars. So there are no defensive wars on here either.
Where I'm trying to find monthly favor growth, and I'm completely being blind. I've seen your monthly air claim increase, but
right at the top.
Oh, there it is, 193%.
Yeah, so you can get a lot of favors with people. Espionage was really huge for this. Really good idea set. Thoroughly would recommend espionage ideas.
The idea selection is certainly something we'd want to cover in a minute. But to be clear, this is again done on Iron Man achievement compatible. Now I've loaded up his save on my computer now, so of course for me achievements are disabled because it started as someone else, belongs to another user. But this was done as an Iron Man save, and save can be posted for those curious as well.
Yeah.
Probably link a Scanderbeg, but I think this also brings naturally to a good point of on what the actual hard restrictions of what you define as pacifism is. Because there was a run of pacifism, I believe I saw a while back on the Reddit, where someone did play the ultimates and they had these islets and they would just give them loads of money and manpower and make them fight wars for them. This is not something you'd use, would you?
No, no wars whatsoever in any capacity. It's not just a declare war button. I lost the ability to get the United States, for example, because they were about to fall under a PU with France, but I couldn't contest it because I'd have to go to war. Yeah, and stuff like that. So yeah, I couldn't be in a defensive war or an offensive.
So you just burned if you were in a war, yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at statistics in the menu, press escape.
Oh, of course it's there.
Go on statistics, and then the top right, you can view all the statistics as a button. Yeah, there it is.
Out in the video.
Yeah, of course.
So the statistics.
So here, statistics. As you can see, 0 of our wars ended in victory, 0 wars ended in defeat.
And so 3,888 men mysteriously disappeared to your diplomatic pacifism.
External pacifism, not internal rebel quashing pacifism. Very different. I did not take part in that, otherwise I would have died. Ming isn't known for its stability or its nice events.
In fairness, you did not lose a single ship.
No.
Or killed a single ship.
Yeah, there's no rebel ships, so yeah, what was that?
You also did manage to achieve a rather impressive 1,713 annexation of provinces.
Yeah, wipe 241 nations. So all diplomatic integration in some form.
You politely ended the histories of 241 nations.
Yeah, look, with their consent. That's important here.
That is important, certainly. And we are getting to a bit of some spoilers now, since we're looking at your religion of Protestant and your grandest province being Metz with 63 developing. But I think before we address that, I think the biggest thing I would like to ask this Ming Holy Empire revoke is, of course, in the age buffs of why you have the Austrian tenacity.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's really important for when you're fighting something. I don't know.
Your rebels get that as well, don't they?
This age ability. Did I get morale damage received?
They get all your military buffs, from my understanding. I mean, there'll be someone in the comments to correct us both with a mini essay. That tends to happen anyway. But regardless, from my understanding, the rebels would also have that. This only helps when you're fighting other people, and you're not.
No,
the Austrian tenacity is
nothing.
entirely useless. In fact, it makes it worse because it means the rebels fight longer to the death instead of just.
No, actually, it does have one buff. Less banners popping up being annoying. So
you can take
the Splendor thing. Yeah.
That is a frequently very underconsidered
feature. Indeed. Yep.
I see you also gave up with spending Monarch points.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, again, Monarch points weren't actually that important. Like, dip's probably the only thing I really needed to think about. But even then, a lot of the time, didn't really care.
Oh,
Yeah,
sucking
and
the
I mean,
aliens.
deving just puts me over GovCap, which makes everything more annoying to integrate. So, uh, who needs to do that
Alright.
either?
Well, let's discuss, I think, some of your bad and good RNGs. From my, as you mentioned earlier to me, you frequently had trouble getting Korea, but in this game you did manage to get Korea early as a vassal because they just dead themselves so quickly out of being about it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They normally I do lose them, but I think this time, because a lot of your mandates based on your tributaries you get and stuff. Because I managed to, tributize Portugal by like 1470 or whatever it was, and
Spoilers.
big boys like that, I could get quite a bit of tributary points. So I think speeding through that allowed me to get Korea first.
And Japan, how? What happened here?
Japan, whoa, that's domination. Domination helps with that. If you play some games with the events early, keep Ashikaga happy, you can they get an event where they can do like trade relations or something. And once they do that, there's a mission that becomes very easy to do where I think you just be happy with them. I think you just have a good amount of trust and be allies high opinion, and they become your tributary. Ashikaga do. And then, of course, if they're your tributary, and Ashikaga is normally very small before they integrate everyone, you can just use your mandate to convert them to a vassal and integrate.
So what happens there? Do they lose independent daimyo? Do the other daimyos go independent?
Yeah, they all do go independent. I'm pretty sure I had an issue with that. I think one of the boys got quite big, and I had to actually kind of fight to integrate it. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. It'll be on the. You'll see
It
it
will
on the
be on the
timelapse.
timeline, yes. If there's this timeline is a fascinating thing to watch. I'm not sure about at the end of the video before this or whenever it ends up being, maybe separated, uploaded separately. But I genuinely watched the timeline multiple times myself because you can just take a look at a part of the world, see a section they get conquered, then another country come back from the ashes only to see that it's actually been China the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. So one of their subjects got really big. So I think it's Hosokawa here. So I had to
Their
integrate
cores are gone. Yeah.
Ashikaga, and then they were independent. So I had to do some core shenanigans to integrate them. Yeah, there's a lot of
This
stuff like
religious
that.
snap mode, I think, is sacrilegious to at least 3 religions.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really. I was like, I didn't really bother about converting them until the last like 50 years of the game. So then I was like, you know what? Let's see how much I can convert. I mean, India is just a chessboard at this point. It looks pretty disgusting. So
Oh,
unfortunately, did
India.
not.
Oh no. Oh no. Why? What is this? It took me a
Beautiful, isn't
second
it?
to comprehend. Yet,
Yeah, no,
oh, so they are Sunni with Hindu provinces, and yet there's just it's like a little patchwork, like you've
mm-mm.
woven a tapestry of Protestantism across the Indian
Yeah,
subcontinent.
yeah. I thought too late to try and one faith the my nation,
I mean, you did
and
change your
this is
mind
the
on your
result.
religion this run, in fairness.
Yeah, so I mean, I needed to go Protestant to become the Holy Roman Emperor. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I had to flip, which honestly very difficult when you're playing as a pacifist because, of course, I was running about 50 different tributaries, all loyal to me, which meant every time I tried to do any sort of rebel switching with religions, they would all come along and fix it for me because they all have access to my land, which was lovely. So I couldn't do it that way. I could not flip. I managed to flip a few like Norwegian provinces and things like that, which are so far out of the way that even the tributaries didn't care. And then I had to straight up dev Protestantism
I
in
mean,
my
this
land.
is a very well developed Norway. I mean, the Norwegians are going to be ecstatic about this. Oh, you've gone for the organization mechanics as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of extra dev in each
Province
state
governing costs
down
as
there.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very very important stuff.
That
So,
is a very well developed Norway.
yeah. So yeah, I had to dev it to plurality, which was probably 2 or 3 thousand dev or something, maybe 2,000 dev.
Is there
I think I
some kind
needed.
of message about the peaceful Chinese coming over to the Norway and spending all of their resources of their state developing the country?
I don't think that has any parallels of real life.
Okay, good. Just want to put that on the record.
No. We did this in Europe, not not else. Anyway, yes.
I like how you very much single-handedly took the part of England and Norway that had access to the North Sea oil as well.
Yes, very, very important. No, I mean Northumberland being a vassal you can get is pretty nice. So if you just charter one of the provinces, you can eat the rest.
Yeah, that is a fascinating way of entering Europe, in fairness. I think you kind of skimmed over this chartering companies politely. I believe you
Yeah,
took
yeah.
here to enter Spain.
Yep, that's correct. Because Granada also existed at the time.
Oh, they
But
still do.
They yeah, they still have cores on it. So that's pretty nice. But yes, so that worked out. That was one of the really good RNG things I had was Portugal took Gibraltar, but not the
Oh,
rest. So if I took Cadiz, I would border Granada, Portugal, and Castile at the same time, so I could tributize the two
oh.
Iberians and subjugate the Grenadans, which worked very well. So that's some very
And
good RNG I had there.
Aragon as well, by some miracle.
Yes, yeah, Aragon. I don't think they got PU'd by Castile. I think they just got eaten alive instead.
They could release
Again,
them back
very
out,
good
yeah.
RNG. Yeah, very lucky with that as well.
Well, I think the main
Official.
thing that has to be brought up, because I know how much you suffered with this, is of course going to be what happened here with the Ottomans.
Yeah, so the Ottomans look beautiful right now. Again, could not really fix borders when I can't go to war with anyone. I had to, yeah. The Ottomans normally hate you, right? So once you start, you've eaten through Persia, Timurids are dead. You're working your way up. They kind of run out of rivals sometimes, and they decide to rival the Ming. But luckily, this time I managed to hold on to them long enough to be too powerful to be considered a rival, which meant I could, I was able to eat into a lot of like the Ramazan and Eretna and stuff like that. How I got into those lands, I think, was through Akyunlu. I think Akyunlu had managed to snipe something out of the Ottomans.
So you could politely ask for that back.
So I could ask for that back. I think, yeah, they ate the main state of Karaman. So I could ask for that back. Then release Karaman, take their calls back, integrate them, and then release a retina from those calls that they had and eat the rest of a retina. And basically, that's the chain that happened. That's the whole campaign in a nutshell. I'd integrate someone, which allows me to release someone else, so I can integrate, take their calls and integrate them. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I could do, and a lot of that had to be done before 1594, right? So
Yes,
a lot
the
of the
big
calls
cutoff.
at the start of the game, all if they are, big nations or not primary culture, like culture group, they last 150 years. So from game start, every single one core of that regard disappears by 1594. So that was kind of the main kind of rush at the start, was to see how many of those kind of nations I could integrate by 1594. And then after that, things got limited, so I kind of had to, try other ideas, such as spawning them certain rebels to get these tags working, which is definitely something for another time if that were to ever exist. It was awful trying to work out how rebels work. It
Yeah,
turns out, yeah, they're more complicated than Zone of Control, I think, as a mechanic goes.
I think there's just also a massive lack of information about them, just out and about. For example, like from my understanding, from back when you were doing this run, we'd have to like load in the game and test, like change the primary culture, change the religion. Now I'd remember looking through the game files to remember like, Shiravan, what is the default religion of this country to see if the rebels would spawn? Because for example, in here, if you take a look, they are Shirvani separatists. But in this province, Azerbaijan, they're audible separatists.
Yep. And then if you go one province more past that
To Shaki.
to Shaki,
Because they're Shia.
Azerbaijani, because they're Shia, it's Tabriz.
Because Tabriz is Shia default religion. Yeah. So there's a lot going on there that's just not really communicated on the internet, as far as I'm aware.
No. So I had to recruit Lemon for that to help. work out what was going on here.
In
To
fairness,
try
that
and
didn't help much.
well, I mean, you figured it out, and you know how to you knew how to test the theories as well with your weird modding lemon mod skills. Yeah, so that came in very helpful.
Shame
But
about
yes,
Ruthenia. That would have been a very nice one to get. Oh, did not mean to
exactly.
unpause
Yeah,
there.
that was
Oops.
the things I was trying to. Oh, oh.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
have a keyboard shortcut on pause that I accidentally hit there.
Oh, fair.
Where's cultures? There it is. Yeah, if you managed to get Kiev out, that would have been a lot more for the Ottomans
Yeah,
would have got back. But
yeah.
never got
So
pause.
yeah, that's what we were going into after 1594. But yeah, most of it didn't work out. There was a couple of things I could do with them, but the problem is I couldn't ship rebels outside of my country to siege down provinces that they don't have cores on. Is the main thing. So yeah, so I mean, Kiev is the primary nation of Ruthenia. So if I release Ruthenians, Kievan separatists, in theory, whatever they siege down that's Ruthenian culture becomes their core forever. They will never lose it. But getting the rebels to actually siege those provinces turned out to be an impossible job. I thought it was. I'm not sure if Paradox has fixed that. I remember old things you do back in the day where you could take your little snaky provinces, penetrate deep into some nation, and the rebels that rose up, like all the separatists, would just walk off, and then other nations would deal with them. So you never, you wouldn't waste manpower on that. I assume that's where it comes from, where they tried to fix that. But
I'm
yeah,
not
I
so
couldn't do
aware of
it.
any efforts there, I'll be honest. Most of my time with Rebel research has been how can I efficiently stab them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, yeah,
But yeah.
completely irrelevant things, but
But let's
stuff that became relevant in this campaign.
on the topic of rebels, because for the first time in I think ever, I've heard someone say espionage ideas are really good for supporting rebels and the people, and really good for that for the foreign spy detection. What was the for the spy network construction ability, but the siege ability and those extra advisor costs and the AE is completely useless. I don't think I've ever seen
Yeah,
espionage ideas be described in this nature.
yeah,
But
I
this
mean
match,
that. Yeah, you do not take them for this. Absolutely not.
because these ideas here are a product of a lot of thinking that I can concede. Can you talk me through your idea choices, especially the ones you brought?
Yeah, no. So I mean, of course, first I got exploration and stuff at the beginning of the game because the aim. So one of the big, I had some big kind of points I wanted to succeed on in the start of the campaign in order to get the ball rolling. So one of them was to tributize Portugal before they, well, just to tributize them. So the issue is because I'm a pacifist, I can't force any tributaries or anything like that. You can only ask them. And if you were to take a look over at Ava, for example,
Yeah.
one of the big problems we have here, if you look at the established tributary, it's not going to work because they have subjects of their own minus 1,000 opinion. Because they have a tributary on Mong Pai. And then, of course, I can't tributize Mong Pai because, well, they're already a tributary. So the same thing happens for colonial nations. If Portugal get a colonial nation, that is it. I can't do anything. I can't rip them apart. At least not until Diptech 26 or something, where you agitate for liberty, which was not something I wanted to wait for.
You did grab Castile. I was going to use that as the example, but I forgot you.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
let's
also
take a
did
look at
grab
England.
Castile.
Yeah, England
Well,
subject of its own and
I
hostile
actually,
and
I
1,003.
yeah, I mean, I did actually tributize England.
Oh, you did, of course. I forgot
I
about
did
that.
succeed, but I removed them as a tributary because I wanted to try something.
The PUs, of course.
The PUs, yeah, I wanted to try some PU shenanigans, but I can't remember what it was now. What was I trying to do with that?
I think they didn't have a nair, but the issue is the PUs, most of them were you had to press wars on them, and you just had to say no.
Yeah, I couldn't do any of that. Yeah, so no PUs succeeded. I got a lot of, I could still put my heirs on the thrones. So yeah, a lot of them are my dynasty.
Apart from the Bohemian Chinese PU.
Apart from the Bohemian Chinese primary cultured elective monarchy. Yeah, don't ask. I don't actually know how they managed to be Chinese primary culture. I had no part to play in that. I think I might have made the My Dynasty, and the king must have had some event where he was like, "Yeah,
About the
maybe,
court,
maybe
yeah.
we should make everyone Chinese." Yeah, so that was
Did
it.
Poland remain elected monarchy,
It happened. Uh,
or did they? Were there any chances then?
there was a chance with them, I think, but I didn't get the heirs. I think they never had an empty heir. I think when the rulers died, they kind of
Yeah, immediately got
instantly
one.
got a new heir. Yeah,
Yeah, that seems about
which
right
is
then.
quite sad. Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately that did not pan out. But I had low expectations for that because I couldn't actually enforce anything.
I think a good example of lack of enforce has to be the most annoying combination of changes that's happened.
Oh, this is really annoying. Yeah, so Yeo has a vassal of Darfur, which means I can't tributize them or alpha vassalization or anything until they integrate Darfur. They've had them literally like 0% limited desire, a 655 ruler, so they had enough dip to do the integration for
Well, they were dead.
yeah, yeah, for like it must have been at least 50 years, if not 100, and they just didn't want to integrate as 3 provinces. Like if they'd have done that, I could tributize them, integrate them,
And have a much
and
nicer
actually
realm.
have a much not. Yeah, it would have been beautiful.
Until we get to Kilwa.
Yeah, so Kill was one of the ones that fell. Again, if anybody at home wanted to try and pass this run, um, you would, it would be possible. Well, okay, actually, Kilwa wasn't. They had a vassal of Safala, which they do at the start of the game, I think. But they had it. You'll see in the time lapse how long they had them. Longer than they should have. I think is the long and short of it. So by the time they actually integrated them, they were too big for me to actually be able to do anything. I can't whittle them down. When they full annex a tag, which a lot of the tags here are OPMs or 2PMs or something, I can't do anything with them to release the cause, right? I can't release those vassals or anything. It's too homogenous. Yeah, so that was a shame. That was a shame with Kilwa for sure.
That's
Yeah, and
fair.
then they went ham in Congo.
I think the real surprise was how much of India managed to get. I mean, there is still a bit of Jean Paul here and so on, and the odd Ayutthaya and Diviet, but it's
Yeah,
surprisingly homogenous. I mean, think Persia as well. You're talking about how they just slipped through your cracks.
again, yeah, it was all to do with priorities, right? Like by the time I got to that stage of the game, my priority was trying to get the HRE under control. And I wanted to have a good presence in Europe, and so I was very focused on that area. Because I only had so much mandate I could use to convert to vassals, so I prioritized as vassalizing the Europeans that I could, and not Persia. And so, yeah, unfortunately, one of the ones I could have gotten, but yeah, if I'd got a bit more mandate or something, I could have just prioritized Persia instead, but I did not.
On that note, I think going back to our ideas, because you did mention open exploration and dropping it, the mandate generation is very much a focus here, which we'll get to the Holy Roman Empire unique interaction and mechanics in a moment. That I do promise. But the rest of the ideas, why infrastructure, why influence, why diplomatic, why court that you dropped later, and so on and so on.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I never took court.
Oh, you did
Actually,
not actually.
no, I did not. It was not really worth it.
See, even in a
Even though it looked like
pacifist
it
run,
should.
court is bad.
Yeah, it's not worth it. No, this was very much a getting monthly favor growth up because the only way I could realistically expand, and B, dip rep, diplomats, all the diplomatic stuff is what I needed to be able to ally more people, improve relations, integrate people better. How it goes. Yeah, so that's why the first opener is infrastructure and influence, because there is a policy With those two, that gives monthly favor growth modifier plus 50%. So that's the Diplomatic Consolidation Act.
Did you ever use the claims, bordering claims?
Did I ever use claims?
Yeah,
I think I tried to and failed. That was one of my ideas. You know how the vassals can ask for land off the overlords?
Yes.
I was wondering if the overlords could ask for land off the vassals. So I fabricated some claims to see if anything came about, and nothing did.
I think there's the event where you can like seize one of the claims from your vassal, but they become extra disloyal if you do that. You're better just seizing it directly.
That was something I was trying to do, but with a tributary. Sorry. I needed to shrink the tributaries down enough to be able to integrate them, right?
Mandate.
100 mandate is 250 dev. So if any nation goes over 250 dev, I can't turn them into a vassal, and thus couldn't integrate them. Yeah, so that's that with those. I mean, diplomatic, I feel like
self-explanatory in
much explanation. Just dip rep, dip relations, diplomats, all very important things. Admin, again, dip annex cost. This is when I was starting to get quite big boys. I think I had hemorrhoids and stuff like that I had to deal with. So that was quite useful. And also governing cap modifier.
That's never bad. I find most single player games, even sometimes in very late in multiplayer, you just take admin for gov cap because
it's that awkward point as well, like in the mid game where you haven't got your town halls. Is it town halls?
Probably. I mean, I'm scared of opening a building chat because I think that's going to pause the recording for half an hour.
Yeah, it does. It does lag. It's like whatever's after courthouse and stuff. Like you can't quite
town hall,
reduce all your provinces down to basically zero. Yeah, so you kind of have to deal with that. But anyway, espionage, of course, very big. Have your blackmailing to give you a favor growth modifier. You have your vassalization acceptance. Which again, really huge for this.
Chance to capture enemy ships.
Yep, really good considering there was no opportunity for me to be in a naval battle whatsoever. Could not happen
at any point.
Yep. Diplomats, nice.
What about the ability to transfer subjects at half cost in a peace deal?
Oh yes, no, I made full use of that in my Zero Wars. Beautiful stuff.
Went to last to fill out this, didn't you?
Yes, right at the end when I was finished. Yeah, that's what I did for that. And then quantity was force limit, because force limit makes stronger armies, which makes favor growth go up. I think is there an obvious example? I reckon maybe Venice. Let's have a look at Venice. We can look at the favor growth from Venice by the end of this game. It's pretty good.
I mean, we'd hope so, considering the Venice you do have as a tributary here still.
Yes.
32 a month.
Yep, there we go.
Please take a moment to comprehend 32 favors a month. They go from 0 trust of you to 100 within 3 months.
Oh yeah, it's pretty nice. And
now it's only due to 33% because of blackmailing.
Yeah. Relative strength is huge. I mean, again, this is going to be an extreme case, but yeah. So one thing I'm not sure how obvious it. I'm just going to say it. So if you're asking for provinces, it's 3 favors for 1 dev. So basically what I'm doing is I'm gaining. When I was using this for people to get my provinces off of, I'm getting like 10 dev a month basically off this nation. So that's why I wanted to try and max this out. And of course, as you may or may not know, this tributary favor growth does not exist in the patch, the new patch.
So considering how long this campaign is, I think it's important to talk about the actual patches because we're also behind the patch 135. Where this is pre-latest King of Kings release.
Yes. Yep. As of, what was it, 6th of November, the new update came out?
Yes.
It's before then. So that's what it was based off of because, tributaries gave favor growth, so then you could ask your tributaries for land back. Of course, the annoying thing is that if you were to try and do this in a new patch, tributizing people means you can't shrink them anymore because say if I allied someone, relative strength would come into play as well, and all of this that no longer happens with the tributary. You just don't get anything, so you need to curry favors with a diplomat. So this run is unfortunately no longer possible. They changed it so only islets can do this.
Is it islets or is it the
Sorry,
Byzantine?
no, it's maybe core islets. Sorry,
or something similar? Yeah, that's
it's the Ottoman subject
okay.
mechanics for sure.
That's fair. I don't know. They've added so many new vassal types. Back in the day, we just had our vassals, marches, and colonies. But,
Yeah. I'm so confused. But yeah. So anyway, get back onto it. Yeah, up in these favors, very good stuff. So that's what I was.
Dip rep as well, because I think, ironically enough, I had a lot of comments asking me for dip rep modify stacking, and I feel like this might be my freeway get out of jail free card because of how much you didn't go for it by country build, but at the same time went for it with everything else. And
Right, yes. I mean, I could go through it, but we have 25, and that's a lot of dip reps. So
if anyone interested is here.
Yeah.
Including the
HRE.
reform of the Holy Imperial Monarchy, of course.
Yeah. The HRE is great for that. It gives you 5 dip rep over, or even, and 2 for their ideas. So you get 7 out of them. You can get a few out of I think your Ming mandate stuff, loads from your ideas, a few from your like Granada, what's it called, Alhambra dip rep. By far the most important part of Alhambra is the dip rep you get out of it.
Excellent. I fully concur. Naturally, no other modifiers there matter. Truly, I mean, you've also managed to stack an impressive 50% chance to inherit personal union subjects.
No, that's just Holy Imperial Monarchy stuff.
Yeah, but what I was saying with that is, really nice if you did have PUs, that would have been so nice for you because you could have had a chance to inherit them, and yet unfortunately, that requires fighting. On the topic of dip rep and HRE mechanics, I think it's now finally time to mention the wonderful mechanics of mandate gain and something that you think you should have done earlier with the mandate.
Yes. So that's definitely something I did not know, and that was anything affecting imperial authority growth as a percentage also applies to mandate growth. I had no idea that this was the case until I flipped Protestant, not even joined the HRE, but flipped Protestant, getting the Protestant Empire buff of 25%, and that went straight into my mandate, which was absolutely
obscene.
Doesn't
say here, unfortunately, but I did. I believe I'm gonna hopefully have a screenshot on screen now of it being sent to me. I had a very, very excited sick man of Europe message me at a normal time in the evening.
Yeah, no, that was insane. So yeah, if I'd have known that earlier, I would have done that. But yeah, by the time you finish the HRE stuff, just before you're about to revoke, you get I think all of this came to about 100% extra imperial authority growth. So I was getting an extra doubling, which is.
And of course, before you annexed a lot of your tributaries, so you had a lot of tributary gain as well.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't actually change anything. My mandate didn't go that much after integrating because prosperity also counts.
Of course.
I'm not sure what the ratio is from dev from tributaries and dev from prosperity.
I am scared if I were to open the prosperity map mode, will we see the true value of pacifism? Of course, there's no.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice, doesn't it? It's beautifully green. Loads of prosperity, which is very good.
And it's a very prospering world, apart from ODF and a couple of provinces like that.
Yeah, I mean,
they're doing their best, okay.
They are.
Poor Yao. If only they got integrated, they would not have this devastation, would they?
Yes, yeah, that would have been probably even devved at this point to get rid of that devastation.
Would not have been tolerated.
Devastation is not tolerated in the Ming Empire. Oh, sorry, the Holy Roman Empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So government reform wise, you did flip Holy Roman Empire, Holy Imperial Monarchy, but I believe you kept some of the Chinese stuff.
Yeah, maybe towards the bottom. I get the Seal of the Great Ming. Yeah, there we go.
The wonderful way to get free mercantilism.
Yes. Yeah, I Lemon let me know of that one, and I did that in a heartbeat. That is an impressive mechanic. But yes, no. So there you go. If you wanted to see that, I actually did a lot of the missions. I think that's one of the last missions you can do.
Which, in fairness, you don't have access to those Chinese missions as of now.
No, because I formed the HRE and got those.
And completed the pacifist Italian invasion.
Yeah. I'm liking all of that. Yes, please invade. It's like, well, or I could ask nicely and just get it instead.
So I must ask, how did you manage to get the overseas empire? Because you did have to own 20 provinces in the India and China super region.
No, that was actually quite a difficult one. I had to really plan my strategy from the start to get that achievement. The main reason why I started as the Ming, it gave you these provinces.
I see, because you couldn't ask the Ming for the land back, so you had to think about, by playing as the Ming, you didn't have to. No. Which actually, I guess, makes sense. For a pacifist run, the bigger the country you start with, the less land you have to ask politely back for.
Yeah, and the stronger you look, so yeah. Again, this is well, I mean, yeah, to talk about the whole point of the campaign from, when we properly kind of offered out and stuff, it's kind of to advertise the power creep, right? Like, imagine trying to do something like this years ago, when there wasn't even even before, what was it Cossacks that even had kind of trust or any kind
before
of
the trust mechanics. That was a while back. I think that was Third Rome, yes.
Yeah, it's like you just. Yeah, Third Rome, that might be in it. Yeah, you couldn't do. There'd be no way of being able to do anything as a pacifist. And now, even a lot of, multiplayer, a lot of it is you just dev rather than kill people.
I mean, deving in itself was very, very much more limited compared to what you can do now as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think all these mechanics that they add make even pacifist runs pretty viable.
Yeah, I mean, the Great Power Rankings don't lie. 28,000 development with all 3 hegemons available.
Yeah.
In the most ironic way, by being the greatest military, economic, and naval power simultaneously, you deprived everyone else of ever being able to declare a hegemony.
Yeah, exactly. True pacifism achieved. Nobody can call themselves the best, because I am. But I also won't call myself the best, because that makes people sad. That's not what I want. I don't want that in pacifism.
It is crucial that everyone is against friends with me, so refrain from quantum. I see you did also build things like the Kiel Canal.
I mean,
I guess
money cap.
Yeah. I think at this point financially, you've kind of run out of things to invest in. Especially as China, since you can kind of start with +5 advisors, maybe not on the current patch, but definitely without the DLC on current patch. You can start running +5s.
God, yeah, your economy, you can really tick it up. I mean, like that, was it single whip law? You get 50% income from tax, straight away and stuff.
Codify single whip?
No. You won't be able to see it now, but the eunuch's estate privilege.
Of course.
Because you need land to show that. I mean, if you give them some land now, you probably
but it's percentage land and I will if I give them some land rights. Ironically enough, I will need to refresh that. There we go. Yeah, 5% landed. So if they have 50% of the land, it's 50% more.
Yeah, they start with about 57%, I think, of the crown land. So. Because they wanted to make it really hard to get rid of the eunuch land, so you just nabble their money instead.
Accept, of course.
I think if I remember rightly, you start with something like 54 ducats of income as the Ming, but without even unpausing, you can get it up to 87, just by pulling all the estates privileges, and it's quite strong.
Definitely did a bit of a modifier stacking with the great projects as well. My understanding. There's many that you could build. I think you pretty much built.
Yeah, some that gave mandate, some that even global devastation was nice. But that one there, that palace is huge. The one you just went over.
Yeah, that's a good one anyway. Because advisor cost usually is why it's known for.
Yeah. No, dip relations, dip rep. That's what you need.
That's where it's at. I mean, I believe it was normally this is the big one that you need.
Yeah, IU Time. The problem is they're so culturally homogenous.
Very hard to get the
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the ones that got away. IV, it was probably an unlucky one. Again, I could have got them, but they slipped through the cracks. But there's also a disaster they get where they split in two. due to some civil war. But they need their rulers to be like, I think, 222 or worse. So
They never
wasn't
got them.
they never got bad rulers. Which, yeah, I kind of assumed that it would happen over a couple hundred years or whatever, but unfortunately, no.
Guess the thing with Vietnam, with Viet or Vietnam, whatever you want to call it, in a weird case, it's an excellent example of I most likely have them, so I can leave them for later. I need to focus on other more important things: getting into the Ottomans, getting the HRE revoked, owning Scotland. I mean, your colonial pursuits in Imperial Peru.
Yeah. So that's also another thing. Again, if you did a pacifist run, you could just colonize the Americas and call it a day, and you'd be pretty powerful. But I was like, I kind of wanted to focus on the old world. Like the new world is easy. The old world is slightly, different mechanics at play. You're not just colonizing.
You didn't manage to pop America.
I did pop America out.
Diplomatically, of course.
Yes, yeah. Again, there's a lot of weird strategies I tried with, like, supporting rebels. So this is when you hit Diptech 26. I think you can do a lot of things with that, like client states and stuff. But you can also agitate for liberty, which is the reason why I wanted it.
Did you
but
manage
yes,
to have the? I just wondered. Did you manage to get the revolution?
no, the revolution died. But I didn't see any events that gave the Liberty Desire increase or anything. But yes, no, I tried. I flipped. I got the Center of Revolution, released a vassal there. You'll see in the timeline, Wu pops out, or someone does. But the revolution dies anyway, even though the Center of Revolution is in a revolutionary nation. So there's not much I could do with that. It just died because I didn't push the revolution, which I couldn't have done anyway. It requires war. Yeah, it's not good, is it?
There I asked about the cultures. Speaking of another thing I would like to mention, is there any particular reason you'd like to honour the Danes by putting the great capital of your state in Copenhagen?
Yeah, no. I mean, I know everyone agrees that Denmark is the most influential and amazing place to be in Scandinavia. Definitely the top one of.
This is why you haven't accepted the Danish people, of course.
No, of course not. Who did I even? I don't know if I accepted anyone. Did I?
No, you have. You fully can accept the Danish people. You are just actively choosing not to.
No. Who needs to? Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first ones I managed to grab. Denmark. Well, yeah, it was a nice-ish province and to dev and stuff. So. Yeah, I thought, why not? It's a nice pro. It's got like some good trade bonuses going on in it. Pretty decent. But not really much reason.
But yeah, no, I mean, you managed to early England. I think you mentioned a good RNG was getting into here for both Granada, Portugal, and Steel tributary status early. It's a great example of good RNG. Anything you'd like to attribute to bad luck that, in the ideal world, you would have managed to avoid? And I'm going to naturally just go towards this area because this is, I think, the religious map mode here.
It's an absolute state,
State, religion, Catholic. I think is a bit of a story to tell here, at least. I think.
Yeah, this was an interesting one because at the start I thought, damn, this is really good RNG, and then it failed miserably. So, of course, Muscovy is a big one, right? When they form Russia, they can start just Siberian frontiering everywhere, and then they become too big of a beast to deal with. But this time they got absolutely curb stomped so hard, in fact, that they ended up being put under a junior partner with Lithuania.
Yeah, you did not wait long for that reveal.
No.
The Princeton of Muscovy. Catholic Princeton of Muscovy.
Catholic Prince of Muscovy under, Lithuania, which, I thought, damn, that's amazing. They get wiped out. They can't do their own expansions. I can just kind of work around them. But the issue is that, well, now they're a subject of someone. I can't tributize either of them. I can't, I can't really deal with Muscovy. I can't ally them to ask for land back, so I had to just curry favors just manually, which was really painful as well. Yeah, so I tried to PU Lithuania instead by making them zoo, along with Sweden, France, and America at a time. But yeah, that was very actually unfortunate in the end, because I think Muscovy would have been eatable at some point had they been independent. Because I still had to get all of this land myself, right? All of the I didn't really benefit much from them being by being a subject. It turns out
They've helped Pskov for the end of the game. I mean, Pskov, I think, has the most boring story out of every country in this campaign. They started
Oh,
as
yeah.
Muscovy and remained such forever.
Yeah, because they were separate from Muscovy. Muscovy could never integrate them, and never chose to. So yeah, because they got beaten up so hard. So that meant they had a subject. Which, to be fair, if Lithuania wasn't to PU over Muscovy, I wouldn't be able to do anything with Muscovy anyway because of that subject. But yeah, I thought that was good RNG. That was not good RNG.
I think that's fair.
It turns out.
Just skipped out on Sweden. I think they devved a bit too much as well. And there's a story that could be told, but pretty much most countries don't have it. Kilwa, Persia, Jean-Paul. Mamluks, maybe not. You did get Syria out of them.
Yes, that went quite well. But yeah, again, Egyptian is so culturally homogenous. There's no little mini subjects I can rip out of them. But yeah, but just to bring it back around to the weird rebel stuff I did, if you look in southern Syria, there's Azraq.
Yeah.
You'll notice that it's Bedouin, but also a core of Najd. So this is one of the things I did manage to do, a very pathetic thing, but yeah, basically by playing the rebel games, I could release Njadi separatists, and then use that to eat the rest of Najd out of Mamluks. Again, this is still 3 provinces in the desert. You would think that's nothing. I haven't devved this. This is still 35 dev of land.
Oh, absolutely. The AI loves to dev pretty much anything in the late game once they get the opportunity to. It's one of the reasons why islets can be so powered, because it's basically you can release loads of OPMs in Arabia. You'd never get much out of a 3 dev desert. But by the 1700s, all your little islet OPMs are basically 30 dev cities that you can just gobble.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. That's what became very hard by the late game, was just the sheer deving. I mean, if you look at Venice, again, just as another example, they don't own any of their islands anymore. They are just effectively mainland Venice. You know, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 provinces.
And there's 250 in the state of Venetia alone.
Yeah, exactly. They are 156 mandate to integrate. 100 mandate is 250 dev. As a ratio, so that's over. That's 380 dev at least that they just seem to have a hold of somewhere. I guess they must have some islands somewhere I haven't noticed, but yeah, again, not many provinces and just sheer, utter, massive dev. There's nothing you can do against that.
I think this is an example of just how impressive this run is, how much he's managed to get despite things like this. You'd think this Venice would be very easily absorbable. But bear in mind, you just can't. Like, this Venice is gone forever now. Assuming Mantua is not really a all you can have access to.
No. So, unfortunately, again, it's to do with primary culture. Accepted culture places can't release rebels of separatists if they have no separatism. But if you look at Ferrara, for example, you'll see that the Ferrara, the nation, has cores on 3 provinces now. One over in Milan area.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of the other rebels I could force out of me, because Ferrara is the primary tag for the Romagnol nation, for the Romagnol culture. So again, I could eat a little bit out of Venice, but again, this still 100 dev I ate out of them with these 2 provinces, Medina and Ferrara.
Yeah, just for the record, this would be almost too big to vassalize. This is 96 developers. Like, 4 more clicks and they'll say no.
Yeah. It's just metropolises everywhere. So, basically, I had to do things like that to gain 2 provinces or 100 dev.
You, you look at these deep red provinces and they're 6.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Poland looks quite fat there, doesn't it, as well? Rocking, yes, 69, 68 dev provinces.
That's the thing with the Poland that they get invaded. It's all farmers and grassland with cloth and
Yeah.
excellent trade goods. It's just a wonderful land to dev.
And again, it's all Polish culture, homogenous, owned by Poland. There's nothing I can, you can't get any rebels out, any separatists, any tags that you can eat with. Yeah, so yeah, quite mad. Very interesting, very enjoyable for me. It was a very different experience to a conquest game, for sure.
It's definitely a very impressive achievement. We've kind of skimmed over the New World, I think, but that's fair. We very much got there, used that to get to Portugal and let it be, from my understanding.
I did not in the end. I did not go that way. I tried to before in previous ideas, but because I thought it was quicker, so it's closer. I think for colonial range going around that way, but I could fix up my economy enough so that I could just charter a load of companies. So as soon as I got to Africa, I could just buy my way to Portugal.
I guess that makes sense. Faster colonize that one.
Yeah, exactly. Come pre-colonized, pretty good. So yeah, that's what I did in the end. This is all just I didn't colonize any of the Americas. This is just stuff I've gained from integrating like Portugal, for example.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
It does explain why this is all Portuguese, in fairness. Because I remember clicking around these earlier. Some was Brazilian, but a lot I'd click on and be Portuguese. Or in this case, Cado, I guess. But it's pretty hard to get rid of the Cado.
Yeah. But actually, one thing I quite liked in North America. I mean, it's not relevant in the slightest, but there is one province that's not owned by colonial nations up in the top. Is there 2?
No, this one went to Imperial California, unfortunately.
Oh, that's Imperial California. Yeah, there's only one that I own directly, and that's the coal province. That is some good RNG.
Direction rule over the one coal mine, Canadian coal mine. The rest, of course.
Exactly. Yeah, but you see those Swedish colonial nations. That's why I couldn't integrate Sweden.
Makes sense.
They managed to get this before I got to them.
They do have a colonial past now, like a lot of countries, weirdly enough. But yeah, no. I mean, certainly an incredibly impressive run. The save will be uploaded into, at least at a scanned bag. If not, I'll see what I end up doing with this save. I'll try and get it out to you as well for you to take a look around. It's certainly a very impressive one. Just take a look at the time lapse yourself. But I think in terms of general conclusions here, I have to ask you one thing. Now that you are probably the premier expert in pacifism within EU4, what is your opinion on pacifism itself?
I would not recommend. It's definitely a challenge. It's a unique experience. But my God, it's actually really annoying watching these little, people don't like border gore. I'm not a fan of border gore. When I do my wars, I like to take states. I like to at least make a bit of an effort. And then Jaunpur and Ottomans and Persia exist.
Look, they really was the mosque, okay? It was crucial to Jaunpur's success to have this.
It's truly disgusting. And the worst part is it's me. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I could leave them like that, but there are 2 provinces I can get a hold of that do bisect them, and it's like I have to do it. I have to get as much land as possible. Every province counts. More border gore it is. Yeah, but no, I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. To be honest. But yeah, it's a shame that it's now old patch only. Yeah, if this was something that still existed in 1.36, would I have been trying more and more? Maybe potentially. I don't think this is world conquest possible. If anything, it's because of Fiji.
Yes. In the most unironic case, the islands, I think, is where this falls down the true world conquest.
Yes. So yeah, the ones further down near New Zealand way or Hawaii. Hawaii is probably the best example. It's so far away from anyone, you cannot ask them to come over, to
We're all
vassalize them.
neighbours.
And you can't charter a company or anything because they're all OPMs. You can't charter anything. So honestly, I would say that those are the reason why it's entirely impossible to do that. Because there's a lot of things you can do. Like England's very hard, for example, but France has, southern France, they have Gascony that never disappears. They've got Burgundy, which I managed to get a hold of to rip them out.
Yeah.
You've got Provence,
I think is the other big one. I was trying
in
to
the
remember.
Occitan region. There's a lot you can do to actually dismantle France.
I can't remember
For
who else
example,
is there. I think there's usually some people up here. I mean, Provence again, in fairness, but I mean,
yeah,
Brittany is
yeah, exactly. Again, this is
very much.
a lot of them have disappeared by now, but yeah, there's a lot you can do with these guys. Castile as well. Like if the
Yes.
RNG is right, it's theoretically possible for like a lot of Europe to be eaten alive. Hawaii, though.
Hawaii is the great
Right.
bastion against Chinese diplomatic imperialism.
I have still yet to find a way.
If anyone knows how to politely take over Hawaii without them protesting,
I would
do
love
let
to
us
know. Yes. But yeah, that is the pacifist run. Of course, any questions that people may have, I'd be happy to answer. Any proof that people would want that this is truly Iron Man, I can give at least, some sort of proof towards that. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on this.
fair enough. I think it shows in the weirdest way possible. The map speaks for itself, and again,
Yeah. Looking at the player map mode as well might look a bit nicer.
well,
Of course, a lot of obvious holes, but Southeast Asia looks a bit cleaner.
won't say it's
and
much of
bits
an
like
improvement for me.
Fair enough.
I think the wastelands make it worse because they're not visible.
Oh, good point. Yeah. So what I'm
you
looking
gain-
at, I didn't color them in, so it looks better on my screen. Good point.
You've gained some holes and lost some others.
Yes. True that.
But yeah, again, to confirm, 0 wars ended in glorious victory, 0 wars ended in disgraceful defeat. From 1444, China did not engage in warfare until 1820.
Yeah. I mean, any white pieces you would make as well count as a win or a loss. There is no way you can get out of a war without this number going up, from what I can tell.
So,
of course, if anyone knows how to
Explain
actually
that.
make that number go up, let me know. Because I would like to, if I could keep that number at 0, and yet still manage to do some war shenanigans, that'd be great, like enforcing rebels and stuff. Oh, that'd be beautiful.
would be amazing. But yeah, thank you very much for popping in. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully see you around more in the future.
Thank you for having me. I know it's a very different type of video, but yeah, no, it's been a pleasure.
Perfect. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the interview section, but I believe it's time to finally show the timeline. I know I personally watched it like 5 times over already at this point. So much is going on at the same time, it's incredible. There's always a new thing to keep an eye out for. So I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. So before I say my goodbyes, if you liked the video so far, well, a like would be appreciated. And if you were to subscribe if you haven't already, that would be amazing. But enough self-shilling, I'm going to say my goodbyes here, and leave you with a time lapse starting now.